For this video, we will show you how to plot multiple plots on one graph, as shown over here. In this example that we have, the plots that we have are for the radius versus the height for different objects of varying volume. In this case, it's for 20 cc, for 50 cc, and then also for 100 cc. The example that we are using is accessible through Blackboard, and there's more information on how to access this particular file in the video description for this particular video. After you've opened up the Excel workbook, you should be able to access the volume problem sheet. And in the volume problem sheet, you will come across this particular table, which has the height values and the different radii values for the different volumes that we have over here. So using the data in this particular table, we are now ready to plot the graph that we require. Now there are two ways in which you can do this. Just for simplicity, the first one is long, and the second one is going to be a lot shorter and quicker. But I would almost encourage you to try out both methods and try to stick to one that you think you're most comfortable working with. For the first method, what we're going to be doing is clicking on any cell in the worksheet area, as shown over here. The next step would be to click Insert. And under Charts, the option that we will be selecting is the Scatter Plot. And for this particular example, we'll be using the scatter with smooth lines and markers. So you can go ahead and click that. And right now there's a chart which has opened up, and it's empty right now because we need to start adding data to this particular graph. Now in Excel, how they view the different plots that we're trying to add to one graph is as series that you're trying to add to a chart. So let's go ahead and add some series to this particular empty chart that we have. You can go ahead and do that by clicking Select Data, and you can go ahead and add one series as indicated over here, and then we should be able to add the second series and the third series, so on and so forth. So for the first series, we will be plotting the radius for 20 cc versus the height that's given in the first column. So for this particular series, I could either just mention by typing in radius 20 cc, but rather than that, I would want to use Excel's feature of referencing things. So I would just clear any entry that's present over here, and then reference whatever name I want to include for the series name. In this case, it's just going to be radius 20 cc. For the series X values, I'm going to go ahead and click on that particular entry, and then select the X values that I need, and for this particular example, it's going to be the height. So I'm going to go ahead and click and select those values. And for the Y values as well, I should be able to do the same thing. But before I do that, I need to clear anything that's present. Again, you want to clear any entry before you make any selection. And after you do that, you can see in the background that Excel has updated the graph to include that particular plot. Now I wouldn't necessarily worry about anything else, particularly the title right now. We can make those changes much later. So after we're done adding the first series, we can go ahead and click OK. And we should be able to follow the same pattern to add the second series, the third series, so on and so forth. After you're done adding the remaining two series, you should be able to finally click OK, and your resultant graph should look like this. Now, this was the long way on how to actually plot the three plots on one graph. The other way in which you can do this, for that method, what I'm going to do is just go ahead and just delete this graph. The second way is a lot more simpler. All you have to do is select all the values in the table, highlight all of them, including the titles for the different columns, and then click Insert, Scatter, and then scatter with smooth lines and markers, and there you go. It plots the chart, and Excel assumes that the first column is going to be the X values, and the remaining B, C, and D columns are going to be the different plots that you have to add to the graph versus these values that you have over here in the first column. Now we are ready to make some changes to the chart after we've plotted it. So let's go ahead and click the chart first. And the first thing that we're going to do is move the chart. So we'll go ahead and click on the Design tab, click on Move Chart, and let's just move it to a new sheet so that it becomes easier for us to make changes to the graph. And you can give it any name that you want to, and go ahead and click OK, and it opens up in a new sheet right now. Now under the chart tools, if you click layout, there are different options that we have over here. So let's go ahead and include a chart title above the chart, some axis title, so we'll include a horizontal axis title just below the axis, another one for the vertical axis that's rotated. Then we can change the location of the legend right now to include it inside the graph by doing an overlay legend at the right. And then the next thing that we can look at is the grid lines, particularly the horizontal grid lines. We can either stick with the major grid lines or add some minor grid lines. I'll leave this option up to you. So right now, coming back to the graph, we've got some information over here, but we need to edit it. The things that you can actually do with the different components of the graph over here are click the ones that you want to edit. If you want to change any of the titles, you can go ahead and double click it. You should be able to select whatever is in it and then make changes to the title. And then if you want to change the font, all you have to do is click on the Home tab and select what font you want to use or what type of font size you want to use for this particular graph. And if you want to move the title anywhere, it's pretty simple. You just click it once, and then you should be able to then drag the title to the bottom. And let's say since it is blocking the axis title for the graph, we can actually start clicking on the plot area and then move that to the top so that it opens up some more space at the bottom for that chart title. Now, it's pretty simple, like how I've told you. Anytime you want to make any changes to any particular component in this particular graph, all you have to do is click on it and then drag it to any location that you want. So let's say if I want to move the legend, all I have to do is just click on the legend and then just drag it to any location in the graph. Let's say right now it is showing the line in the background, so I want to fill it with a particular color. For any component on the particular graph, all you have to do is click on the Layout tab and then click on Format Selection, and it will come across a list of options that you have over here. And for this particular legend, all we want to do is change the fill to a solid fill filled with a white color. So you can do that and then click Close. And right now it's filled with a white fill in the background. Now if we ever want to change the different aspects of the graph, we should be able to click on those components. In this case, the marker size. Double click on that. You should be able to click on marker options and then change the size as indicated over here by increasing it to, let's say, around 10. So go ahead and try this out for the graph that you've got, and you should be able to then obtain a graph which looks similar to this.